Karen Roberts is going to fall out the window. She likes to perch her ass on the sill and lean against the cool glass pane, slid open halfway, the breeze lashing at the sliver of skin between the hem of her shirt and the waistband of her jeans. It feels scandalous to have the tip of her crack exposed to the world like this while reading excerpts of Hamlet or Silas Marner to her 11th grade English class, neither of which she has read to completion herself. She got by on Cliff's Notes in high school, then Spark Notes in college, and now follows the school board curriculum exactly, her only pedagogical interpretation being dramatic hand gestures, like beating her chest while shouting the last line of that Lord Byron poem. She doesn't like literature so much as she likes Dead Poets Society, the potential for theater in teaching, as if at any moment her students might erupt into applause, hearts bursting, changed forever. She says her favorite author is Hemingway because that seems acceptable, though she only made it to page 25 of The Old Man and the Sea. When Karen's class begins filing out, she hops off the windowsill. One of her worst students, Lucy, approaches her to tell her how beautiful, like literally beautiful, her hair looks today. Lucy, smart, but too often taken with drawing gruesome eyeballs in the margins of her notebook, always stays behind, gathering her belongings in slow motion, to pay Karen an arbitrary compliment in hopes it will sway her grade. Yesterday, it was her eyes. So pretty, Lucy had said, which, considering her skilled illustrations of corneal leakage and wormy water lines, frightened Karen more than it flattered her. Karen wonders if her students actually find her attractive. There are 17-year-old boys in her class who look 22, and she can't help it if her 29-year-old body feels a jolt at the sight of their veiny, football-wielding forearms. She's a woman with a pulse, after all, until she won't be. But if she knew she was about to die, she might do something not illegal but definitely questionable, like daring to unbutton the fourth button of her Ann Tyler Henley, or keeping Jesse or Brian or Tate after class to demonstrate burpees, watching their muscles clench under taut skin, overexerting themselves to impress her, or playfully tousling her students' hair as she passes them in the hallway, then whipping around to wink. Though winking comes unnaturally to her, which she finds frustrating, the inability to escape herself long enough to perform sexiness, to express the full range of her desires, always recoiling in embarrassment when her husband discovers her wetness, always facing away from her classroom door during lunch hour so passing students and colleagues won't catch how greedily she brings the plastic fork to her mouth or how many processed toppings she's dumped on her salad, fried onions, and cheese cubes and croutons atop the most unenlightened of lettuces, iceberg. The truth is, aside from Lucy's desperate compliments, her students don't give a shit about her. The same way Karen never gave a shit about her teachers. Except for the time when she ran into Miss Schmidt, her 7th grade art teacher, at a cheesecake factory. Miss Schmidt appeared to be on a date with an oily-faced man. Karen's 12-year-old brain decided, as a coping mechanism, that he was handsome, to push away the terror that men like him might be waiting for her, too, in some abstract adult future of inconceivable X-rated acts. Miss Schmidt was wearing dangling gold earrings and a Mandarin-style dress that positioned her as someone worldlier and sexier than Karen remembered from class, where she wore black turtlenecks and taught a painting called Nude Descending a Staircase that didn't have a single nude person in it. She looked foreign and strange, and Karen felt betrayed. But the betrayal nudged awake something dormant within her, the erotic, like being simultaneously stabbed in the heart and gripped by the groin. And that's when it began, the gripping and pulling and tugging and knocking around of desire deep inside her that she's never been able to still. On the drive home from school, Karen blasts John Mayer, her guilty pleasure. Through there are few pleasures that Karen experiences that aren't guilty. She wonders if her body, good-looking in clothes, confusingly less so naked, would be considered a wonderland by John Mayer's standards. And what is a wonderland exactly? At a stop sign, she looks up the definition on her phone. A land of wonders and marvels. This reminds her, she's never really traveled anywhere. Just Cancun on her honeymoon 5 years ago, which was a 7-day hellscape of drab buffets, screaming children, and Mark's vacation style of bowling shirts and Birkenstocks, an outfit that further complicated her already complicated desire for him. During the first week of their courtship, Mark wore a baseball cap that he only took off in the pitch black of his bedroom before they would undress and press their equally pale bodies together. Their bodies together. For Mark, sublimity. For Karen, well, she wasn't sure, but obliged and continued to oblige until she had, it seemed, suddenly obliged herself into full-blown marriage. One night, their lips locked underneath the covers, she caressed the top of his sparsely haired head. He reflexively brushed her hand away, then rerouted it to his erection. "But I like your head," Karen said, reaching toward it again. "Really? You know how people say they don't see color?" "Yeah, but isn't that racist?" "Well, I don't see bald." Then she kissed the shiny spot on his head that she always knew was there, but that he thought she didn't. A kiss that was a sort of silent commemoration of every tragic person, including herself, who had tried and failed to hide their physical shortcomings from the world. The kiss inspired in her heart a pity for all of mankind, from Homo erectus to Homo sapiens, throughout Earth's history, which was a grandiose jump, she knew, but it allowed her to have compassion for him. And compassion was love, wasn't it? So, she did love him, or she was maybe avoiding his erection. Either way, it was the first time she had kissed him with any certainty, even if she didn't know what she was certain about. At a red light, Karen nearly rear-ends the minivan in front of her. When she rolls down her window to collect herself, which, as a person uncollected, always late, lost, misplaced, and misplacing, She frequently does. A pair of shirtless teenage boys, swinging T-shirts by their sides, pass her and shout, "Ho can't drive!" Ho, she thinks. Hoes are attractive, aren't they? Perhaps if these boys find her attractive, her students do too. Or, too consumed by their revolting doodles and Lay's variety packs, do they perceive her as nothing more than a loud, fuzzy shape? To hell with her students. She should quit her job to travel, finally, find herself. Like her cousin Barbara, who went on that yoga retreat in Hawaii because she thought it would transform her into the kind of person who woke at dawn to make complicated smoothies. When Barbara returned, she was, sure, very tan, but jobless, thousands of dollars in debt, and drinking burnt Folgers spiked with whiskey every morning. Anyway, Karen already knows exactly who she is.